James Hyde. So I live in North Devon, which is out in the sticks. The liaison knows about it because his wife is from Bideford, which is the town there where we are. So I am the rural contingent. I am from the countryside. But my parents lived in London for many years, in South Woodford. My brother works in the city, less than 2 minutes walk from here, lives in Chingford as well. So a little bit of connection with the London scene. I guess picking up actually on something that Mark was saying about churches in the UK and how they connect together. Brothers, I am not a theologian. I am not presuming to teach you guys theology today, but I have some observations about the state of church planting in the UK. The state of church planting in the UK. Half of all churches in the UK are less than 100 people. There are 50,000 local churches in the UK, and half of them are less than 100 people. Most British churches are living in a culture of subtraction. What do I mean, a culture of subtraction? I mean a culture that says, don't change anything, someone might leave. A culture of subtraction that says, oh, don't go off and help in that other church, you must stay with us, we can't afford to lose anyone. A culture that says, pastor, you need to preach every week. You're not allowed to go off and preach other places. A culture that says, we better keep our money to ourselves, just in case of a rainy day. A culture of subtraction. If we like, let's call it level 1. Most UK churches. Small. You ask most British pastors, what is their dream for church? And they will say, brother, if I had a building that could house 100 people, I would be yes. When you go to the Christian bookshops and you look on Amazon and you look for resources, most of the resources that are provided for churches are for churches of 100. It's the market dynamics. There are some churches, though, that are living in a culture of addition. A culture where it's not about subtraction, it's about come. We need bigger buildings. We need more ushers, more stewards, more musicians, more Sunday school teachers, more pastors, more teachers, more evangelists. It's a culture of addition. How many converts? How many baptisms? It's about addition. We might call them level 3 churches. Now there are some churches that are kind of in between. They're seeing that, yes, we want to make disciples, we want to reach out, we want to connect, but they're kind of constantly being pulled back and forth between subtraction and addition. In my part of the world, if your church has more than 100 people, you are a mega church. You've made it. You are the biggest church in the area if you have 100 people in it. The biggest church. That's including children, by the way. You are the big church. You've made it big. So there is a big culture pouring people in to think about addition. But then there's another culture, a culture of multiplication. Picking up on what Richard said. What if we changed our thinking about church and instead of thinking addition, more. Or instead of thinking, don't take any of my people, I need to keep them, my flock, what if we had a culture of multiplication? I like my numbers, statistics. My family joke about me and statistics. Okay, the average size of a London church plant, when it starts, the average size of a London church plant, 20 people. Most churches in London are started with 20 people. London. Not British Nigerian London. Not Southern Indian Tamil London. 20 people. Stephen challenged us at the very first thing. What if all of us, experienced pastors, evangelists, prophets, what if we all thought, I've made it. Brother, I have 20 people. Mega church. Because now, I will do it again. I have my apple. Very sweet, very juicy. Anyone else wants an apple? But now, next church. A culture of multiplication. You might call it a level 5 church, if you like. And there are some churches that are struggling. Some large churches are thinking through this more. It's crazy. Why don't we multiply? What, you mean send our best preacher off to be a preacher in a church of 20? Yes, let's do it. No way. Maybe the preacher's wife has something to say about that. You want me to leave the church of 400 people and go to a church of 20? Husband, I know you say the Lord will provide, but when I go to the checkout and say the Lord will provide, it is not good for my soul or my children. It's a big thing to think about multiplication. Why am I challenging you about this? Because, brothers, Pastor Dominic, it's lovely to hear that you're out preaching on the streets. Brother, you have 32 million people to preach to. Because that is how many people in the UK have no contact with a church. 32 million people in the UK have no contact with church. I mean, their mother and father did not go to church. I mean, their grandfather and grandparents did not go to church. I mean, when they went to school, they didn't know anyone who went to church. They have no contact with church. Pastor Dominic, you have a strong voice, I'm sure. You have amplification. You would need very big amplification to speak to 32 million people. Not even the stadium can carry that many people. How are we going to reach 32 million people? Multiplication. Brothers, you know this. Go and make disciples. And daily the Lord added. Yes, addition is important. Don't get me wrong, brothers. I come from a large church. My church in my hometown is a large church by UK standards. Yes, of course, we need to go out and seek and save the lost. Yes, we need to leave the 99 to go and get the one. Of course, addition. But to reach 32 million people in the UK, multiplication. If you only have to reach the people in your street, or in the tower flats, or just in your small village, of course, some of these things will work. But if we are thinking, because God has called us to the UK, Carla, how are you going to reach 32 million people? This is the problem. This is the challenge. God is at work in the UK. For many, many years, decades, there have been more churches closing than opening in the UK. But now, in this generation, at this time, by 2020, the people who measure this say, for the first time, there will be more churches opening than closing. The tide is turning in the UK, but it's turning because of multiplication. Multiplication. It's a big challenge. So how does that impact us? How do we actually work? How do we connect with people? I want to introduce you to this like a matrix. You know, again, we need to remind ourselves of the challenge that Jesus had. In 3 years, he preached the gospel. He gathered disciples to himself. Out of those many disciples, he selected 12 to be with him, to learn from him. And in 3 years, everything changed. Everything changed. So how did he do it? You know, some of the churches that we're connected with, we are very committed to the words of Jesus. I know you know this. Theology and doctrine is incredibly important. Yes? That's true. It is. We need to engage with what God is saying to us. We need to have understanding, depth. Yes. But we also need a commitment to the works of Jesus. Yes? Preaching the gospel, healing the sick, casting out demons, negative influences on people, helping people, serving people, having compassion in our hearts, a commitment to the words and the works of Jesus. But what about the ways of Jesus? This is a challenge for me. Come, be church planters. Give up everything. Come and die. This is a challenge for us in the UK to follow the ways of Jesus as well as the words and the works of Jesus. Big challenge. So how do we see that happening? Well, you'll remember the story in Matthew 16 where Jesus connects with Peter. You remember the commissioning of the Apostle Peter? So he says to Peter, he gives him a new name, a nickname. Yeah? I don't know about you and your different cultures, but in my English culture, only my best friends are allowed to call me nicknames. Yeah, you understand the expression? Only my best friends. Yeah? I'm not going to tell you my nickname. It's embarrassing. When Jesus says to Peter, I'm giving you a nickname, it's a relationship, a strong bond, openness, transparency, a connection. There's invitation, inviting Peter to be friends, inviting Peter into relationship, inviting Peter into that place of transparency and honesty and fun and craziness and hanging out with each other. But then we read on in the story, and you remember this, Jesus says what the plan is, and Peter's like, no way, that can't be the plan. And what's Jesus' response to his best friend, the one he's just given a nickname to, the one he's just said, you are my BFF, my best friend forever? He says to Peter, get behind me. Brothers, I have never called my best friend Satan. I do not recommend it with your pastor friends. If you say to any of your pastor friends, get behind me, Satan, this could be a career-limiting decision for you. But Jesus says this to Peter. So there is challenge. High invitation, high challenge. How do we make disciples in the UK? We follow not only the words of Jesus, not only the works of Jesus, we follow the ways of Jesus. And Jesus invited people in, but also challenged them. Come, follow me, and I will make you fishers of men. Invitation, challenge. You know this. But let's apply this to the teams that we're working with. We've heard some people trying to gather in people to help them. So what does that look like in terms of a team and the churches that we might be working with? If there is low challenge and high invitation, what do you end up with? You end up with nice. English word, nice church. You might call it cozy church. We heard someone use the word comfortable church. And what do you end up with? You end up with consumers church. What did you think of the preacher on Sunday, brother? Oh, well, he was okay, but I think I might go home and listen on the internet because I heard someone else do better than him this morning. We become consumers. High invitation, but no challenge. I mean, let's face it, if there is low invitation and low challenge, people are bored. Yeah? The product, if you like, there's apathy. People who have low invitation and low challenge, what do we call them? We call them leavers. They leave your church. Yeah? They just leave. But what if there's high challenge and low invitation? People are stressed. People get discouraged. Why didn't you come to the prayer meeting? Why weren't you at the Bible study? Why weren't stress? People get discouraged. High challenge, the words and works of Jesus. Be like Jesus. But low invitation is stress, it's discouragement.
Yes.
Of course, all of us want to be here. Disciples. Oops. Breakthrough. This is where we all want to be. So Ollie, in your situation, you've invited these people in, but now you're going to bring a challenge. And you're like, how are they going to respond to that challenge? Don't call him Satan, by the way. I recommend that. I'm not a theologian, but I'm pretty sure that will be out of context. Yeah? Dumiese, you've had lots of challenge. Brother, maybe you need some invitation, you need some encouragement. to find some people you can connect with. Yeah? Carla, likewise for you as well. Yeah? There's like invitation, but now maybe there's some challenge to ask people to step up and say, well, you pray for this person. You visit this person. It's the balance of invitation and challenge. Invitation and challenge. But here's my observation. Many UK churches are kind of here, comfortable. Think about it. 50 people, maybe 100 people, everyone knows each other. At the end of the meeting, someone stands up and says, everyone, we're going to go here for lunch today, or we're going to have a bring and share thing here. Everyone knows each other, everyone's happy, everyone sits in the same seats every week. Everyone's comfortable. But the challenge is, as we start to increase the challenge, the sense of invitation goes down. This is called the valley of the shadow of death. Because that's the thing, you invite people into your church, come, Jesus will bless you, Jesus will look after you. Oh, but now there's some challenge for you. Now you have to do this, now you have to do that. And people start, huh? Remember my dad, when he was ministering in northeast London, they used to have home groups, Bible study groups in the evening. And he said people wouldn't get home from the city until 8, 9 o'clock at night. And then they would have a Bible study meeting. It's great. Here's a hint. Here's a tip. If you've got people who work in the city and you have Bible study in the evening, when you come to pray, make everyone stand up. Otherwise they just fall asleep in their seats. Make everyone stand up. But really difficult at 9 o'clock at night to have a really difficult Bible study, because people are coming to be loved, to be cared for, to be connected, to be encouraged. It's difficult to have invitation and challenge in the same meeting. So as you increase the challenge, the invitation goes down, people get stressed, they get discouraged, but then you start bringing in more invitation and you end up in breakthrough. It's my observation. Maybe your situation is different. It's my observation. Because this will be the challenge for some of us in our churches, connecting with people. Imagine we're going to connect with people, for example, just an example, and a hypothetical example, yeah, is preached in Telugu, everyone comes, fantastic, Swarup stands up and says, okay everyone, now we're becoming multi-ethnic church, everything will be in English, okay? And everyone's like, what did he say? Because he said it in English. Huh? What did he say? Yeah? Challenge. It's a big challenge. When you come to a UK church, of course, you come in and everyone says, take a chair. When you come into an Indian church, everyone says, take the floor. Men on this side, women on this side. It's different. Ethnic respect for each other, different challenge for people. British people will be offended if there is no seat for them to sit in. Yeah? Indian people will say my back hurts if I sit in a chair. It's a problem. Yeah? Sometimes monoculture, multicultural is very difficult. Better to have multi-ethnic, but establish culture. Again, an example from my father's church. The first time he did a bring and share meal. UK church is very famous for bring and share meals. Have you all experienced bring and share meal? Yeah. Okay, quiche. Yeah. Yeah. Mayonnaise. And here's the thing. The Nigerians sat in one corner, eating their lovely spicy food. The Indians sat in the other corner of my dad's church eating grandmother's samosas. Yeah? The English people sat eating quiche. Even the English people don't like quiche, but they eat it and bring and share. No one talked to each other. That's like, let's bring and share. Disaster. What can we do? Gather as leaders, let's listen, let's pray. Not multicultural church. Yes, multi-ethnic. So, next time, we're not going to have a bring and share meal, we are going to have Indian experience. So we will all eat Indian food. It's alright, brother, eat before you come, but 2 days. True, the Chinese people, they would eat before they come, but polite, courteous, would try the food. Then we have African meal together. Not multicultural, ethnic, but together, sharing, integrating together. It's a challenge, isn't it, brothers? We need to not just follow the words of Jesus, of course, the words of Jesus, but also we need to follow the ways of Jesus. You know, sometimes we say, oh, those apostles, they got it right, you know, there they were in Jerusalem, yeah, ministering, they knew what they were doing. We forget something. Where did most of the disciples come from? Up north. Most of the 12 disciples were Galileans, northerners, not city folk. When Jesus said stay in Jerusalem, it wasn't their home. It was a foreign culture. It was very difficult for them. They were country folk. Galileans being asked to stay in the city. It's a challenge. Those 12 apostles, sometimes we think, oh yeah, they knew what they would. No, they didn't. It was a challenge for them, cross-culture, at the very beginning of the church, grappling with these issues. The ways of Jesus. Thank you for listening. Maybe there's some questions, some answers, some comments. Let's try and follow the ways of Jesus. How do you make disciples in the UK? Invitation. Some of you may have to eat quiche. I'm sorry. Challenge. We must encourage our congregations, our peoples, our ethnicities to stop being so comfortable. Challenge people to step out and to connect. As Mark was saying to us, there are tremendous opportunities. God is on the move. There are things that are changing in the UK. There's a challenge for all of us. We have a Tamil church in my hometown of 30,000 people. Because the doctors come to the hospital and want to worship, so we have a Tamil church. Would you believe? In the countryside, way out in the sticks. No Nigerian church yet. There's an opening for you, Sam. Invitation.